This podcast is supported by patrons. You can find a full list of them in the description of this episode. Hello, listeners of Good Morning BSS World podcast. This is Wiktor Doktor talking to you from Warsaw, from Poland. And today we are going to a fantastic island, which is somewhere in the middle of Europe and actually in the middle of Mediterranean Sea. This island is Cyprus. I am not here alone. Today with me there is Jowita Jablonska. Hi, Jowita. How are you?
Hello, I'm very well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for accepting our invitation. You are representing a company which name is IBCCS Tax and also Nomads Club, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. These two brands. Yes.
These two brands. So maybe for the very beginning of our talk, just give us a short overview of what your companies are doing.
Okay, so basically, we're doing tax planning. The main office of IBCCS Tax, where everything started, is in Cyprus, Limassol, but we are not only limited to this jurisdiction, okay? But let's say since we have a main office here, yes, we use Cyprus a lot when it comes to tax planning, since it's a nice jurisdiction. And yeah, besides of tax planning, we do everything else in house, like legal advices, anything regarding accounting. Later on, when it comes to the corporate life of the company, so daily administration, basically, of the business.
You are Polish like me. So how did it happen that you landed in Cyprus?
It was a coincidence. I mean, I never planned to live in Cyprus, to be honest. My idea was to work for European Union institutions. I had an internship planned at the Luxembourg at the Court of Justice there. I was going to become a lawyer linguist, and in the meantime, I had like few months to spend somewhere, and I decided to just join Cesare, the founder of IBCCS Tax. He was searching for a person with legal background from Poland, so I just decided to check this option. So I came first, like for a few months. Then I had to leave to Luxembourg for this option traineeship at the Court of Justice. But yeah, after it finished there in Luxembourg, I came back for good to Cyprus.
Thank you for this. And so now let's more focus on Cyprus as the destination, the business destination. One of the goals of this podcast is to actually find out what are the benefits or what are the rules of doing business in certain locations all around the world. Today we are in Cyprus. So maybe let's start from the geography. Are there many or rather less cities where the business, the international business who comes to Cyprus is locating?
The cities in in Cyprus, you mean
Yes.
specifically? Yeah. So basically, it's Limassol. I can say for sure. It's not the capital. Capital is Nicosia. But okay, to be honest, it's still the business is happening there. There are many firms located, but to be honest, the center of life of Cyprus, in my opinion, is in Limassol. It's at the sea. It's the seaside city, and the atmosphere is very vibrant all over the year. So yes, that's the main place, I think, of the action here.
And if we take a look on the profile of companies who are coming to Cyprus to do business, they are coming from which part of the world? Are those usually Europeans or Americans or maybe from somewhere else?
Now it's very international, okay? But let's say the easiest and the most beneficial is for everyone from European Union. Since it's also for personal reasons, it's easy for European citizens to become residents in Cyprus here. And it's close to Europe. We are still within the jurisdiction of European Union. That's why I would say that it makes most of the sense for people from Europe. Then we have also Russia and Ukraine. After the conflict there, this is like the main place where they are coming, and we have a huge community, especially in Limassol. Many people they literally brought their businesses here to Cyprus.
And when it comes to the type of business which is the most popular in Cyprus, what kind of businesses are those?
It can be anything, to be honest. Of course, the finance. I mean, it's like a capital of finance. Let's say is becoming now. Of course, there are many forex companies that are located here. But to be honest, there is a shift now, and there are many companies coming from the IT sector. There are many incentives for this type of companies. So let's say Cyprus is becoming like there's a concept and like actually idea to for this to become a tech island. We had also a nice festival last week. It's called Reflect Festival, which is promoting this idea of Cyprus to becoming a hub for technology and innovation.
So this is quite big variety of different industries, starting from finance, going to now tech. Tech is very popular all around the world, so I'm not surprised that actually now Cyprus is also being targeted by this kind of companies. Let's do maybe some kind of an exercise. Let's suppose I am the business from European Union, and now I want to set up my office in Cyprus. What shall I be aware of?
First of all, it's easy. Okay, it's easy process. I mean, in terms of becoming owner of the company, shareholder, this is in case we just have a basic documents of a person, basic QIC, notarized passport copies, utility bills, anything that any reference letters. These are like key documents to be presented later at the register of companies. Any person from all over the world can become a owner of the company. Later, we have more details when it comes to the board of directors, because here we come to the point where we should have appointed local director here in Cyprus. We have this management and control rule in Cyprus, which means only the company that is managed here from Cyprus locally will have a tax residency here as well. This is very important. Many people forget about it. There were these old times when people were having companies in Cyprus. They were appointing themselves as director, living abroad, and they were still thinking that this is fine. No, it's not fine, especially from the perspective of the foreign tax authorities. So we always make sure that these are the first details that clients are aware of and to not create any issues, because we know many people who got the wrong advice, maybe read something on the internet that is not always the case, and there were some troubles later on.
So when it comes to this board of directors, does it mean I need to have a local person, I mean the Cyprus national person, to be on board, or I can just go to Cyprus, stay over there, and be this director?
You can stay there. There's nothing about nationality of this person. I'm just saying about local resident. Local resident can be a foreigner living here, okay? But the person that really lives here, okay, he needs to fulfill the conditions of being resident of Cyprus. So of course we have so many foreigners living in Cyprus who are directors in their own companies. Some of them they have bigger boards. They are sharing the board of directors together with some local people living here. We have many different options. It really depends. Some people they are hiring also personnel from Cyprus. So it really depends on the structure somebody wants to have.
One of the most important elements which needs to be investigated before starting doing business somewhere are the taxes. So what are the taxes? What is the level of them? And what are the types of taxes in Cyprus?
Okay, so first of all, the corporate tax in Cyprus now it's 12.5%, which is in Europe, this is the lowest. Okay, I mean only Ireland has the same percentage, and this is not all, because we can even lower this percentage to 2.5% in case of IP box companies. Okay, in case of a company creating intellectual property in Cyprus, developing a software, creating something, selling something like books, I don't know, anything that is created from here, there is a way to tax this on the level of 2.5% only. This is very unique.
This is very low. So I assume that companies of a profile of R&D, for example, can also match this level of the
If of
corporate.
course they fulfill requirements, okay, there's like a list of things to do, prospect to be presented at the tax office. It's not like automatic, of course. There are people who are deciding about it, and it has to be really nicely prepared first. But to be honest, the process itself, when someone is ready to do it and prepared, it goes smoothly. I know from the perspective of our clients.
And how long does it take to set up a business?
It's not long. Let's say that someone has all the documents ready, that I mentioned before, the QIC. It should take around 2 weeks. With the signing of the memorandum, submitting this at the registry of companies in Cyprus. Yeah, overall, it shouldn't be more than 2 weeks in order to get like the full certificates, because in Cyprus we have certificates from the registry of companies issued, stamped from there. And this is the moment when we have a company with a number and ready to be active.
So now we already have a company. We know what kind of corporate taxes are involved in here. Any other taxes we should be aware of?
First of all, what's the real benefit of coming to Cyprus, and why people are coming and they want to change the tax residency to come to Cyprus, is the fact of no taxation on dividends. Okay, this is huge benefit, and that's why I'm starting here now with dividends, because I want to mention one a contribution that should be mentioned. So, a person who is moving to Cyprus, a new tax resident, who was not a resident here before, who doesn't have any roots and connections with Cyprus, can be exempt from SDC. It's a contribution that local people, Cypriots, they are paying. Okay. Normally, they would be paying 17% on dividends, but because of this exemption, they will not pay this tax for 17 years of their tax residency in Cyprus. So there's this big time window of being exempted. Then on that, you are paying only 2.65%, which is the contribution to national health system. It's called ESE, and it's something that is like contribution for the healthcare system, which basically residents are using since I think 3-4 years. It's working very well. It's like a nice access to the doctors, and like in a very, actually you are not paying at all, maybe some small like amount when you are going to the doctor, and that's it. And all this kind of small contribution 2.65 are introduced for people to pay it and to be going to this healthcare system. So this is all when it comes to dividends, and it's also capped. Okay, so only until 180,000 we are paying this small percentage. After that, if someone has dividends, higher dividend, will be not paying anymore. So it's like if you take 2.65% from this amount I just mentioned, it will be around 4K. So basically, this contribution is capped to 4,000 per year within a year. Within the tax year, you are paying the dividends to yourself.
The currency which we are talking about is euro.
Of course, everything that I'm mentioning here always in euro. Yes, this is the currency in Cyprus. Yes.
Okay, yeah, because there are various currencies around the world. There are such countries like Georgia, where actually your company is also present, where they have the local currency. But I just wanted to be very much clear about what kind of currencies do we say, do we talk about. It sounds like a tax paradise.
Yes, I mean, to be honest, there's still this label. Sometimes people say tax haven, Cyprus. I wouldn't call it like that, because there are still many regulations. The companies here are perceived as European Union companies. Okay, we're in European Union, so I wouldn't call Cyprus tax haven. There are still taxes to be paid. There are still contributions to be paid. This jurisdiction is not promoted as 0%. okay, like some of the islands or maybe Dubai and this kind of countries. Things are decent, and I really want to people to stop saying that the island is, I don't know, connected to some dodgy businesses and maybe money laundering. Uh, the huge benefit of Cyprus is that it belongs to European Union, when at the same time you don't feel much like staying in Europe because you have this Mediterranean lifestyle, something very different from other European countries.
I must say that it sounds to me like talking about Panama, because Panama was also considered long, long time ago as a tax paradise. But since they have actually implemented some kind of taxation inside, of course, this is very beneficial, very low. The regulations seem to be very similar than this what you are talking to me about Cyprus.
Yes, but let's not forget, Panama is very far away from here. Not many people go there. It's not so accessible. It's not in European Union. There's nothing to compare, to be honest. Like Cyprus, because of belonging to European Union, they also need to follow directives, okay, of European Union. It's like everything needs to be in compliance. So to be honest, yeah, I wouldn't compare.
Okay. And when it comes to, let's say, communication, I mean the languages, what languages are being used in Cyprus?
Okay, so Cyprus, maybe let's make an intro because I think that not everyone is aware that Cyprus is divided. Okay, we have a south part which is like Greek part, and north part which is occupied. I mean, by Cyprus it's called occupied area, when occupied by Turkey basically. So after the conflict in 60s, this is what happened. We have Nicosia is the last capital that is divided. There is like a wall. In order to cross it, you need to go through the border. There is United Nations army there, and yeah, we have the island is divided. So the official languages of Cyprus, Republic of Cyprus, we have Greek and Turkish. Okay, in the constitution, these are two languages, but English is so well spoken here, and everybody knows it, and it's very easy to communicate that there are no issues really. And this is one of the other things that why people are coming and why business is growing here, because really, without knowing Greek, you can really live to the fullest. You can communicate with Cypriots who are very communicative when it comes to English also. So I think it's huge thing to mention.
And when it comes to those languages, and I will step back in our conversation to the moment about setting up the business, and you mentioned that the companies are giving the certificates. Those certificates are in English or in Greek or in Turkish.
Okay, so by default, whatever anything that is issued from the register of companies is in Greek. Okay, but later on, we can also open a file of the company and have the same in English. So let's say the forms, whatever we are communicating with the registry and other institutions, tax department, social insurance, the communication should be in Greek because the original forms are in Greek. But when it comes to later documents of the company, it can all be in English. So we always prepare memorandum and articles of association, which is in Greek, and in the sworn translation in English at the same time. So there is no issue later. If once we start issuing the English documents, there is no problem. Also, the same with resolutions and internal documents of the companies. Most of them, I mean, maybe there will be two or three that really need to have this form of the Greek document. There has to be a resolution in Greek for some special events of the company. But the rest of documents, no problem with English. The same with financial statements of companies. Financial statements of companies in Cyprus are obligatory. Any type of company, even if nothing is happening in the company is dormant. Every year we have the obligation to submit financial statements. And again, this will be prepared by an independent auditor in English.
Okay, so financial statements once per year, annually.
Yes.
Uh, I know that we are now living in a hybrid model of work, especially the IT industry. This is the industry where people are used to work from home and so on and so on. But anyway, some of the companies need to have offices. So, how is it about the offices in Cyprus? Is it easy to rent an office?
If it's easy, I mean, to be honest, there's such a demand now that it might not be so easy as it used to be. I mean, literally, there were so many empty spaces to be rented, and now it's changing because so many companies are coming. So many companies need these office spaces that okay, you need to now sacrifice some time or ask around to find something nice in a good price, like I'm saying, like when I was coming to Cyprus this 6 years ago, seven actually, uh, the infrastructure was very different. It changed so much with with the income of all these international communities, with the incentives that Cyprus started to offer. That really you can see the huge difference also in prices of the rentals. Yeah, it's a big switch. What happened during these last years?
You mentioned incentives which Cyprus started to give. Any examples of such incentives?
Okay, I already mentioned yes, corporate tax, IP box, no dividends for the new expats. The other thing is that even person who is not coming to start a business in Cyprus but is just employed by someone has a huge benefit because now there is an exemption on personal income tax, 50% for new expats coming to Cyprus. So imagine for a person that is earning more than 55,000 per year within a year, they have this 50 tax less on personal income tax in Cyprus. This was actually voted very recently. Before it was only for 10 years, it was for the higher amount. You had to have 100,000 of salary. Now it's half less, and for 17 years again this number. So imagine it's kind of, I mean, it's a huge incentive, and at the same time it shows also this difference how expats are treated when it comes to the local people. They don't have this incentive here.
I need to strongly consider to move to Cyprus.
You are very welcome. Yes, we need more and more international people always.
Oh, this sounds really very interesting, and it looks like that this country has actually thought a lot about creating those incentives for expats or for foreigners who want to either stay or run the business in Cyprus. For the end of our talk, Vita, any tips or hints which companies from around the world who are interested in doing business in Cyprus should be aware of?
Yes, I would highly recommend someone who is thinking from business perspective to come to Cyprus to first really come and be present here, like see what's happening here, like for real, not just plan it when it comes to from the business perspective, but to come and see the infrastructure, the vibe, people, and everything, and decide to invest in Cyprus in a way to really rent an office, maybe buy an office, to bring staff here, like to really show the presence in Cyprus. This is important. This is important from the personal branding and when it comes to company and its image, let's say. And also, many people who are not aware of Cyprus, they are really nicely surprised how nicely it is to come here and run business from here. Yeah, and it's another element of building substance in Cyprus and showing its real presence at the same time. This is important. Some people are still forgetting about it. They think it's enough to just have a company with some registered office somewhere. It's many cases when a company is really exposed, it's not enough.
So, first discovery, then the decision. The last but not least question, but private one. Food. How good is food? What kind of food is in Cyprus?
Okay, it's amazing. I don't need to really think too much about it because it's like, first of all, the quality of food, okay, is great. Everything is local. You don't need to transport anything here. The vegetables and fruits are in such a good quality that really, literally, you can just live on eating this. I mean, Cypriots, they love meat, okay, they eat a lot of meat and souvla. There is a special name, for this type of food grilled. And okay, it's amazing, but there are also a lot of varieties of fish. So yeah, seafood, all this kind of Mediterranean cuisine, which is at the same time very healthy. Yeah, for longevity and everything. So I think, yeah, I mean, if someone likes the Greek, let's say, cuisine, it's very similar. I mean, there are many similar dishes. So yeah, this type.
Yeah, I've been to Rhodos a year ago in Greece, and that food was there excellent. So I can assume it is very, very similar. Actually, I just recalled one extra question. When it comes to the streets, to the traffic of the vehicles, is it like in the European Union that it's on the right side, or is it like in UK that it's on the left side?
It's on the left side. Actually, Cyprus took a lot from UK since it was it was like a small colony of United Kingdom. So yeah, even the law, we are based on common law. This is another reason why regulations here are not so bureaucratic and why it's easy and smooth to run a business because things are based on common law, not continental law. So even when you see a resolution written from Cyprus, it's so clear and nice comparing to what we have in our continental jurisdictions.
Yeah, we like bureaucracy in the continental Europe. Anyway, Jovita, if somebody wanted to get more information about Cyprus, about doing business in Cyprus, about taxes in Cyprus, where would you direct such person?
To us, of course, it can be in English, it can be in Polish, it can be in Russian, in French, German, this in this all these languages. And yeah, we will. I think we will have some links below to direct those who are interested. Yeah, we were very welcoming. With any questions, you can come to us. And yeah,
I will make sure, of course, to put those links in the description of today's episode so people will get easier to find this information. Thank you very much for today. It was very informative, and I got 2 pages of notes about how to do business in Cyprus. Thank you for today.
perfect. Thank you. Thank you.